as I was collecting all these stories and realizing how much we were doing and how we should be letting people know the success and the numbers and the growth of the organization.
Basically, from a young age, you're really kind of like unknowingly, I guess, at the time when you're 7. Maybe you knew, hey, I'm going to be, the marketing comms manager.
So many pain points with producing that print publication, and I think mainly my issue was making sure everything fit onto a page, and we were getting all these stories that we had to squish together.
Welcome to my new video series. It's called How to Avoid the Annual Crisis. And the annual crisis, of course, is the ongoing annual report saga that happens every year with nonprofits. So I have Amy here from 4-H Canada. And yeah, thanks for joining me. And basically, I just want to have a little conversation about annual reports, marketing, communications, and kind of see where things go. So to start, maybe you could tell everyone about who you are, your role, and kind of what is the short story of Amy?
Yeah, well, I am the communications manager for 4-H Canada, which right now entails covering off our marketing as well as our internal and external communications with our audiences. 4-H Canada is one of the nation's largest youth organizations focused on positive youth development. So we work with a lot of volunteer leaders and youth members and clubs. So I get to tell a lot of stories and get a lot of statistics about our clubs and stuff across the country and work with that to build storytelling. And that's kind of what my focus on is in my role right now.
And how did you get to 4-H? So when did you get into the nonprofit kind of like marketing comm space, and how has your journey been so far?
Yeah, I've actually been involved with nonprofits since I was about 7 years old. I was working with the Starkey Hearing Foundation. I was basically given hearing aids. I was reporting back to them on how it worked in classroom settings, and it really sparked a passion for me for giving back, volunteering, because I was impacted by that foundation, and I know how important nonprofits are because obviously I had my own experience with them. Went to university, volunteered within my student association, and then kind of steered the path a little bit, went into government, wasn't feeling as fulfilled there, and landed a role with 4-H through a staffing agency, luckily, which kind of brought me back to my nonprofit roots. And yeah, been here for over a year and a half. I've did my undergrad in with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication, minor in Management, and did a lot of courses on marketing and social media, and obviously growing up in a digital age, have my own experiences with that as well.
So you basically, from a young age, you're really kind of like unknowingly, I guess, at the time when you're 7, maybe you knew, hey, I'm going to be the marketing comms manager at a nonprofit, but no, that's cool. That kind of the way that your path kind of always kind of led you in that direction, which is pretty cool. So when it comes to annual reports and kind of like what is your role?
So right now I'm fully spearheading our annual report project. Last year I got the pleasure of working on it. It was my first time working with an annual report. Honestly, had no idea what it was or what its purpose was, had never read one before. And I get to work with our provinces, collect that statistics, put those stories together, gather all the pictures. Last year I was responsible for working with our designers, our print teams, and basically getting this publication out. And this year it's all my baby again, and I'm excited to try something new with it.
So when you first looked at the annual report for the first time, like what was your thought? Like, like I remember like when I started first thinking about annual reports and seeing them many years ago, I was like, oh my God, they suck. It's like super boring. Who cares? But yeah. What was your initial thought?
I didn't think anybody was going to read them. I didn't understand the audience of it. I didn't realize how many stakeholders had an interest in, seeing what the organization was up to. And I didn't fully understand the information that went into one. So as I was collecting all these stories and realizing how much we were doing and how we should be letting people know the success and the numbers and the growth of the organization, I then learned to appreciate it, but it just felt like a very boring, redundant, inaccessible document that I really questioned the purpose of at the start, for sure.
And so going through that process, so do you have a good sense of like who's viewing it, why they're viewing it? Because obviously, you know, the cool thing with reports and the challenge too, I guess, is there's so many people that are looking at it for different reasons that, you know, like from my experience, you know, going to you know, tell the messaging, tell the stories, trying to engage so many different audiences into, you know, a document, especially when it's a PDF, you know, is very challenging.
Yes. Yeah, so when I didn't realize how many people really were involved and were looking to receive the annual report, but you know, we have so many partners that, you know, our organization relies on, and their support for specific programming. Of course, they're going to want to know the success of that. You know, we have our board and foundation members, we have our paid membership, for those who, you know, have voting stake in the organization, you know, staff members, and it's really key tool for engaging interested partners and sponsors, and even just public audiences that are looking to get their kid involved in an organization but want to know more about, you know, how that's being done, the numbers, you know, making sure it's legit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And when it comes, like you said, like you have like design, you have the print. So like, what is that like the? You know, I see you roll your eyes.
Yeah.
It sounds like not only a lot to write, but like a lot to coordinate with, you know, doing the design, doing the print. You know, like obviously, and then obviously, you know, I guess one of the downsides of being, you know, a print document is, you know, what happens if you make a typo, right? You know, like if 100 people read it and then there's a really big typo that no one saw and the print goes out, you know, like I can imagine, you know, like I imagine you feel a lot of pressure probably like from like all the different areas of, you know, the creation.
There's so many pain points with producing that print publication, and I think mainly my issue was making sure everything fit onto a page, and we were getting all these stories that we had to squish together, and it was so text heavy that it wasn't an easy document to follow. It was not an easy document to review and have design elements incorporated in that without, you know, removing some of that crucial content. And you know, the accessibility thing was a huge part of it. Of course, you can have an accessible PDF, but that is a very costly endeavor, and it is also very time consuming. You have to take into consideration the color hues, the like text size font, making sure the screen reader can read it, alt text. And while that's much easier to do on a website because there's a lot more of integrated modules to, you know, prompt you to do that, it's making sure that everything has those aspects during that review process. So it really was timely, and at the end of the day, it should not have been so complicated, and it should not have taken so many months to just get it ready for print.
So I mean, obviously you're going digital this year. How much time do you think that's going to save? Do you have any like estimates? And like, have you been tracking? Like, do you have a sense of like how long it took last year to be able to do that comparison?
Yeah, last year I'd say it took about 3 to 4 months to put together, but only really a month and a half of that, maybe maximum, was gathering and writing out that content. I'm hoping to save at least a month this year. I think, you know, without those rounds of revision for the design and print aspect, and making sure that, you know, between the folds of a paper that text is going to appear, it's going to save us a big headache, I think, in that review process. And then again, you don't have to review the printed documents, so that saves a few weeks there. Mail out's unnecessary, and it's just super easy to post that online, share that on social. The engagement is much higher online anyway, so I'm really looking forward to it.
So in terms of engagement, when you look at your background in terms of like comms and marketing and social, like what is like the secret sauce for promoting, you know, not just this, but like anything in general? Like, do you have kind of like, you know, a playbook, like the Amy playbook of, you know, how to publish and promote?
I think specifically for nonprofit or any organization that works with people is avoiding stock photos primarily. Showing the faces of the real people involved in the organization creates way bigger engagement. If you think about it, you see a Facebook post, you see someone you recognize, you tag them, their family member sees that that person was tagged, and then it's just this cycle of reaching larger audience, bigger views. Anything video content wise seems to be gathering people's attention much quicker. Normally people are more likely to scroll past a photo nowadays, with TikTok reels, the increase in popularity there, people are looking for that engaging, moving content. And that's also super exciting about an online annual report, is the ability to, we've done some pretty phenomenal campaigns over the past year that are videos that are on YouTube. So to be able to integrate that within a virtual annual report, I think would be significantly more engaging and also attract those visual people who might not be interested in reading as much as they are watching.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So what do you have found like is the biggest challenge? Is it trying to squish everything in the past, like when you're looking at print, trying to squish it onto page layouts that make sense? Kind of like what's your biggest challenge? Is it like getting the data in the stories, or?
Yeah, I think it definitely is condensing the content without taking out those critical important highlights. And content that's submitted for an annual report is 95% of the time important statistics and storytelling that you really want to include, and you don't want to have to cut out much of that. And with the design process, the text size obviously needs to be large enough for people to read. So if it doesn't fit on a 2-page spread, cuts are going to need to be made. And it was also very difficult with the text heavy document to incorporate engaging graphic elements, to have those colors and those shapes and icons put throughout the text takes away from that text space. So obviously, having to prioritize the paragraphs over the visual element was a tough call, because I'm looking at it and I'm going, I don't really want to read all of this. There's no breaks throughout it. It's overwhelming. So that was a difficult compromise and probably the biggest pain point of a print annual report.
That makes sense. And how do you decide what goes in, what goes out, doesn't make the cut?
Usually like the extra sentences that might be reiterating something at the start of a story. It's a very tedious process of going through and finding those unnecessary words, seeing if you can, find synonyms, and it's a whole other comms process to put that together. Yeah.
And do you have like a method for saying how many words are needed, or like when you're sending information to the programs, do you say we need 4 stats on this, or do you just say give me everything and I'll take care of it?
It's pretty much give me what you have and we'll take care of it. Our statistics are obviously used for many different things apart from the annual report. So we basically try to gather as much as we can, and our provincial organizations are crucial for running this organization. We're nothing without them. So what they provide, what they're excited to share, is really disheartening to need to remove a paragraph or two that, someone put their time and effort in putting together for you. And it was a tough call because there was no text limit per page. It really depended on what they were submitting, how many photos they were submitting with it. And we wanted to prioritize, obviously, the photo implementation as well. So it was trying to find that balance. But no, we didn't request any specific limit. And now that you mentioned it, it probably would have been smarter to do it that way. But we really just wanted to get as much content as we could out of fear of there not being enough for some reason.
Right. And I guess the nice thing going digital is you can have read more that goes to an article or expands the content. So you're less stuck where someone sends you 5 pages of text and you go with the 2 in. You can say, okay, well, we'll put the other 3 pages on another page, and if someone wants to know more, they can go over there, or maybe that already exists, right? And you're looking to articles and that type of thing.
Yes, and that is it's a challenging balance there for sure.
And what about the CEO? What role does the CEO have? Does the CEO kind of come to you with a mandate, or is it basically you run with it and then it kind of goes up and then you get the changes in the feedback?
Yeah, so in our instance, for our organization, the CEO will write that introductory letter. They play a huge role in picking the theme for the annual report, and they play a critical role in that review process, making sure that, the message that they want to convey is there. A lot of the lifting comes from the marketing and communications teams, and the CEO will make the time to review it because they will obviously have to present that to their own partnerships and stakeholders. So yeah, it's important to them as well.
And what like when it comes to CEO, what's the most important thing that they're looking for?
Oh, that's a good question. I wish I knew. I'm not a CEO.
Not yet.
From my understand, not yet. I don't know. I think from my understanding, it's a clear, concise, and like positive representation of the organization that they're running. And I think it's very meaningful for them to recap a year while they were in that position of CEO. This is what we've accomplished during my time here. And this is what we hope to accomplish in the future. So I think it's a bit of a personal summary for them as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine that they probably feel a lot of pressure when they're presenting it to the stakeholders and to the board saying, hey, like I'm doing good work here and there's a plan. I'd imagine that that's probably like the most stressful thing for them, right? And the nice thing with, having like, the marketing comms team is you can use the stories and the numbers and the stats and the presentation to kind of tell that story, right? Because we all know storytelling is much more effective than just, giving facts.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I can't speak too much on that experience, but that is what I assume is, the case.
Perfect. Yeah, so we have a kind of a tradition, and I say it's a tradition because I did it once, and I'm going to do it again. So I think thereby it becomes a tradition. So what I like to do is I like to go to ChatGPT, kind of give it some prompts, and then come back with a question for you.
Okay.
And GPT gave me about 100 questions to choose from.
Holy smokes.
And you know how ChatGPT is. All hail the overlord. So the question that we have from ChatGPT is, how have recent trends in digital marketing influenced the content of your annual reports?
Wow. Well, that's a great question. Since we're only just getting started this year, I think I'm going to speak on that experience. As an organization this year, we've really focused on video content. It's made our sponsors and partners very happy. It's gotten a lot of engagement on our platforms. So I think that really influenced our decision to go digital this year because that content was so successful. And we do want to include that in the digital annual reports. As for the content itself, once again, those photos of the real, 4-Hers, our real leaders, faces of the organization have the best engagement on our platforms. So to kind of merge those two together, knowing that, this is what people want to see, hopefully that'll bring them into the annual report and keep them engaged as they scroll through it.
No, awesome. And one last question that I have is, so what's going to make this year a success for you?
With the annual report or in general?
Report, yeah. I mean, in general, but particularly towards the report.
What is going to make this year a success? I'm really excited about the ease of the rollout of this annual report. It is quite literally a link that is so much easier to share on social media, to incorporate into our website, to have in one place. So when anybody wants to refer back to it, it's there. They know where to look for it. It's not a print document that they need to have on hand. And while we did have PDFs, it still wasn't as easy to open and scroll through your phone because the pages would be separated. So I think the huge success this year is hopefully more readers, more engagement, more sharing, and I hope our partners and sponsors like it.
Amazing. And I guess the nice thing with going digital is you can track. You'll be able to come back with metrics of last year. So a year from now, last year this is what we did. This is how we did it. This is what the people care about. And then going forward, like trying to keep doing better and better, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Amy, thank you so much. Great having you, and I really appreciate your time. And look forward to seeing what you come up with.
And thanks so much for having me. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.